What's the creepiest thing you've ever witnessed? Being a kid, witnessing my dad going through alcohol withdrawals. He would hold long conversations by himself as if he was talking to someone on the phone, and he would see things that weren't there. He then took my bike for a ride and fell over and had a seizure. I was too scared to do anything, but someone came to help and he went to the hospital for a week. I once worked as a server in a strip club. One member would pay me $20 to make an origami frog, then step on it. I thought at first it was just weird, but then I learned about the crush fetish. I was in a swamp in southern Arkansas. My uncle and I were hunting and had gotten out there pretty early. We were just sitting and waiting, and then we both see this coyote walking past. The coyote looked at us for a minute, stood up on its hind legs, then walked back into the woods on those hind legs. I swear this happened. I've never seen anything like it before or since. It's not something that I witnessed, but something that happened to me. I have schizophrenia and I delusionally believed that I was pregnant, had morning nausea, no vomiting, abdominal distension, and several other symptoms of pregnancy. I felt the baby kicking. It happened multiple times and a gynecologist said that nothing was wrong with me physically. Once saw a boar running up the shaft of a spear that went through its head. A blow that would be fatal to any living thing, that you just look at and think, oh, it's dead. Brain gotta mash potatoes, but it just kept charging and creeping up the shaft of the spear like it was possessed and wanted to kill the man holding it regardless of life and death. It's very unsettling to see. At a friend's birthday party when I was 15-16, boys and girls were there as well as adults from the friend's family. I ended up being asked to leave because I almost knocked out his middle-aged uncle when I caught him groping one of the girls next to the pool. Piece of shit. I took my nephew to this park semi-surrounded by woods. While pushing him on the swings, I heard rustling and turned around to see a man in a ski mask watching us. 10-10 will never go back. Saw some red eyes out my grandparents' window in the middle of the night. They lived in the country with some property and there were never lights like that anywhere. Freaked out and got back under the covers. Once I went hiking in a well-known area. I somehow managed to walk out of the wild on the same path I went in without getting turned around. This wasn't some strange wilderness either. This was an area I knew like the back of my hand. Yet somehow my path onto the back of the mountain spat me out at the front lot. Personally, I've never been one to question signs like that, so I simply got into my car and got the hell out of there. Went to bed in a hotel room with the balcony door open because it was hot. Had a bad dream of a guy in a red checked shirt peering into the room, entering, and eating an ice cream at the end of the bed. When I woke up, I discovered a half-melted banana-colored ice cream between the bed and the wall. Happened when I was about 12. I was just casually walking my dog one afternoon, and then I see some weird guy following me. At first I thought he was drunk, judging by his weird movements. But then he started hiding behind cars and trees, peeking out as though he wanted me to see him. Anyway, I ran as fast as I could and didn't walk there for a week. Mind you, this was happening while there was an actual serial killer on the loose in our town, so I might have escaped murder. I was a kid. Around 6-7 years old at the grocery store with my mom. We were at the checkout and she was busy paying for groceries. I saw a man by the exit looking at me. Then he started signaling that he wanted me to come over to him. Pretty sure he wanted to kidnap me. Man shrugging, was staying at my sister's when I was 14, and had a horrible nightmare about being strangled by the devil. I could only see his face smiling at me, and feel a crushing sensation on my throat. I told him to fuck off, and swung a punch, and I then woke up. I looked over, and it was about 1 a.m. The next morning, my sister was complaining that she had a really horrible nightmare, that the devil was strangling her. I asked her what time this happened, and she said, around 1 o'clock. I was in the subway once. A man walked in carrying a package of hot dogs. I watched him sit down and eat an entire package. After he was done, he then proceeded to drink the hot dog juice right out of the plastic package. It was 16 years ago. I still think about it. When I was 17, my friend and I went off trail while hiking up a mountain, and we found a path that led to a quarry at the top. This path on both sides was lined with trees, and while we were heading up we noticed an opening, and when we looked into it while passing, there was a man maybe 30 meters away hidden in the trees on his knees digging the ground with something wrapped up next to him. He looked up at us with a no emotion look and we noped out of there quick. My sister, mom and I went to Home Depot. I was around 6 or 7. They ran Home Depot real quick and I just waiting in the van. I saw a car pull up and the guy was just sitting there. I didn't pay much attention, but when looked at him he was just there beating his meat. Just casually beating his meat. I was so horrified. My moms and sister came back and I was panicked that my sister walked by him without noticing. Nastiest, creepiest shit ever. I once saw a guy drowning in his own vomit after overdosing. That was when I worked in the prison service. They pulled him out of his cell and got him to the hospital wing, but he later died. I also had a very awful call with his widow and had to try to explain without telling her why her kids couldn't come in to see their dad. I go outside, it's dark, I bend over to pick up this shriveled cherry on the patio. Then it moves. I go inside, get a glass cup, put it over the cherry. Then it starts shaking frenetically and all these teeny baby spiders climb off its body and stream out from under the glass. When I was 14, a guy followed me in a ravine and eventually started jerking off. Saved my neighbor's son from hanging. At a large playground, a commotion occurred on the other end. Apparently a strange man had attempted to walk off with a little 5-6-year-old girl. Her mother had caught on, raised the alarm, and several fathers at the playground had tackled and pinned him. The cops came and arrested the man and took interviews with everyone. Terrifying, when you consider what this man's likely plans for that innocent child were. Hopefully he's having a terrible time in prison. When I was a kid, when it was already dark, I rode my bike home from soccer practice. As I drove into our pitch-dark yard, a white eye came my way, illuminated by my dim bike light. It was a dog from our village, that had a white eye on one side, cataract or something. He just wanted to play and I then was relieved when I realized it's just a dog, but the first few seconds as that single white eye moved towards me and I did not know what it was hell. Not really saw, but heard. I was sitting in my backyard with my mother and father, out in bumfucked nowhere, when suddenly we hear a tree etc. straight ripped from the fucking ground. It was pitch black. That was about 3 years ago, still have no clue what it was. Driving to my friend's lake house with her mom and 3-year-old cousin. There's an accident or something right in front of us and her mom slams on the brakes. As we sit there, a little shaken, the smell of burning rubber wafts through the windows, and my friend's little cousin matter-of-factly announces, "This is what it smelled like when I died." I don't know why I end up reading these at 2:24 a.m. when I have to get up again in a few hours for work. Watching my friend get into her boyfriend's car and wave for the last time in her life. She told him she was pregnant and he killed and left her naked in the woods in the middle of winter. My cat popping his head up over the back of the couch while still on the ground. This fucker is so fucking tall that his head peeked over the back of the couch at me and scared the shit out of me. Of course me jumping made him jump. Him jumping scared him and he skittered off to the basement. That's the life of owning a cat the size of a bobcat. The gremlin himself. When I was in middle school, all the students were issued Chromebooks. One thing me and my friends would do when we were bored in class is type in random short words that we made up into the search bar just to see the results. XGOP, VORK, POF, etc. Most of the result were surprisingly amusing until my innocent self decided to Google the word clop. My computer screen was immediately covered in My Little Pony porn. Horrifying. Driving up to a hospital appointment last week, and saw 4 men running panicked from the graveyard and driving off. I thought they'd vandalized something there. Nope, it came in the radio that a murder had been committed at that time there. The 2 who did it are now on trial, and I'm still shaken up. We came to Vienna and were in the downtown area. Wanted to have something nice for dinner and this sushi bar was nearby, so we went in. The first thing was the smell. I couldn't describe what that was, but now I know it was a dirty human body and unwashed hair. There was this tired Asian girl at the counter. The walls were dirty and scratched, and I saw a corner of a mattress sticking out from the doorway behind the counter. We were out immediately. I don't have a story to share, but I'm commenting and upvoting for increased visibility. These types of posts are my favorite to read, so I'm hoping this one gains some traction. When I was younger, 11 maybe 12, I moved into a new house. My room had a big closet and access to the attic. I was a scared little kid and was worried a monster lived up there. One night I woke up in the middle of the night to see my closet door slowly reopening. I didn't move and then yelled for my parents. Found out if the door isn't properly closed, it will open itself. Still have never been as scared as I was as in the moment. There was a field in the back of my grandparents' house. My friends and cousins would go out there and play. There was abandoned buildings and a mineral processing plant. Well, one day we found clothes on a path and bloody pants. As a 5 or 6-year-old, my brain didn't really process what I came by or seen till I got older and was fuck. Something fucked up had to happen there. So I didn't personally witness this, but from my dad's story it was pretty creepy. So my dad once saw a guy get run over by a train and it decapitated him and split his legs from his torso, and just picturing it hurts my head. When my mom bought an iPad back in 2012 and was taking selfies with it, one of the photos clear as day showed a ghost behind her shoulder. Not just a standard blurry apparition though, it was like a disembodied warthog head, staring angrily into the camera. Think Ganon from Legend of Zelda, that's what it looked like. I can remember that picture like it was yesterday. Terrified both me and my mom. How my arm looked after I broke it, myself in the mirror when I used to dissociate. Thought it was a dog barking at me in the forest but turned out to be a deer. My wife and I saw a guy jump off of a parking garage. We didn't know he was up there until he hit the ground about 30 feet in front of us. It was horrible.